Okay, thank you very much for coming on time. Um, Abuna Daoud have been asking me to do this with his humility to really engage parents and children together. So I thought what I would like to do, give very short information about one challenge, and then I would like to open the discussion. It depends on the time. I was thinking of 4 challenges, but I'm not sure if we can get to all of them. So I don't think... So the challenges that I thought we can ask your opinion in, the first one is sexual identity and sexual confusion. The second is the parents' view of their children and the children's view of their parents, Instagram, and vaping. The reason I chose those 4, not that this is a complete list, but this is, in my little experience, is what the last 2 years we have been fighting with. So sexual confusion and sexual identity, there is a lot of battle about it. New York Times Magazine put something called the battle over gender therapy. It's very clear in the Bible for our youth that God created man in his image. He created him in the image of God, and he created 2 genders, male and female. Also in Matthew 19, haven't you read that he created them in the beginning? He made them male and female. 0.5% of the population 0.5% of the population is considered transgender. 2/3 of the transgender report suicidal ideation. 20 to 40% of transgender have attempted suicide in the past year, and 10% or over 10% are attempting suicide. This is the philosophical comment, guys, and I'm talking to my sons and daughters. A man chromosome cannot be engineered to become a female chromosome. Number 2, altering one appearance by removing parts of a woman or a man will not change what we call the genotype or the genetic material makeup of every single cell. Not because psychologically I am thinking I'm different than what physically I am, because psychologically I'm thinking I should be a woman, that does not make me a woman, scientifically speaking. And let's be very clear, guys, the majority is not always right. Please remember, the majority is not always right. So, not because a lot of people are talking, they have to be right. And please remember, God has the authority to make one person a woman or one person a man, and there is no point or ability for the creation to change what the design of the Creator. So, sex as male or female is an objective based on the reproductive organs. Asserting sex is assigned at birth, and it's not arbitrary. The sex of the newborn is observed upon birth physically by seeing the sex organs if she is a girl or he is a boy. If anyone doubts, any cell in the body, a skin, a semen, blood, anything in the body will show if he is XY or XX. So whatever you may hear in the media or in the school, this is what God created, and that's what the design of science, not just we are saying this because we are Christians. So the questions that I'm going to start asking my boys and girls are: humans are free to create their reality without going back to the fact. If I can be treated as a woman and I am a man, or vice versa. I just want to show you just the title: Gender Affirmation Surgery, meaning removing certain organs, lacks evidence. Transgender surgery did not improve suicidal rates. Sex reassignment does not work. So unfortunately, at least I saw it in Los Angeles, there are clinics giving what they call the T pill. The T pill is a testosterone pill. 14 and 15 years old girls may be standing in lines waiting every morning to pick up a T pill because they want to be assigned to become boys. So let us be aware whether this will come to Canada or not, whether parents will be allowed to know or not. Just I'm talking to my youth, the boys and girls. By you start to grow hair because you want to be a boy in your beard, that does not change your chromosome. And believe me, it will not change your mental health. So, now the questions that Abuna and to some extent myself will try to answer. First, this is for high school and above, and the priority for our children, and then to the parents. 4 questions. How can a Christian tolerate and in the same time does not lose faith? Let's start with this question. Anyone wants to answer? And we can, I'm not sure if we can give the mic is in the back. Anyone from here or there? How can we continue to offer Christian tolerance, loving everybody, respecting everybody, never humiliate or put down or bully anyone, but in the same time keep our faith? So I'm saying the question, I hear your answers, then Abuna will sort of give us his opinion. Anyone? Okay. Can I have some of the youth first before we take parents? Some of our younger, not young. Okay, all the way in the back. Thank you.
Maybe it's more of a love the person, but don't love the action that they're doing as well. So you don't really have to accept their actions of doing whatever they're doing, but still love them as a person, how God would want us to love, how God loves us, but doesn't love our sin itself.
Great. So love the person, even though we may disagree with the behavior or, of course, the sin. Other youth answers? High school, college, grads? Okay, we can start asking. There was one parent here and one parent there. I can give you my mic. Okay, sorry, I'm good. Thank you. Yes.
It's the main belief of our church, of our Christianity, is that God is love. So this is our rule and our main concept, that we have to love everyone. Whatever the nature, whatever the belief, we have to love everyone, we have to respect everyone, but at the same time, this does not affect anything of our beliefs related to the Bible.
Okay, thank you. Other answers? You want to say? Go ahead, I'll repeat it.
So it's not an easy situation to deal with. And the fine line between accepting the person but not agreeing with them is a red line, but it's doable.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, any other comments about this? Yes, Habibi. I'm good. Hina, Habibi.
I believe it's. Just gonna stand here for the mic. I believe it's a little bit hard, especially in modern day for youth in our age. Let's say we're applying for a job or something. Okay, let's say we're applying for a job or something, and they ask us, "What do you think of the LGBT community?" You know, like you can say, "I respect them, but I don't agree with their actions." But most likely, you will not get hired at all. Is the truth. So it's pretty hard. Like, it's hard for us to show them that we have different beliefs.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think our youth need to be aware. When a lot of Copts were persecuted for different reasons, so there is nothing wrong that you taste a little bit of that. All right.
You choose.
In the middle, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, my co-worker at work, she was approached by a lesbian, and one day she was feeling down, and my friend approached her that she's going to pray to her that the Lord would guide her to the correct path. This girl went to the human resources and complained, and my coworker got into years and years of pain, and we cannot at work opinionate even or to advise them or to say our opinion.
Yes, and that's true. Please do not divulge your opinion at work. We are talking about our faith. We are not evangelizing about this at work, for now at least. It's safer this way. This young lady.
I'm also talking from a very personal experience. I was faced by a professor at school, and she identified me as a minority group myself. And when she asked me about my approach towards those who identify as an LGBTQ, my answer to her was, I love them all. And she asked me, what about you practicing Christianity? And my answer back to her was, me loving everybody doesn't stop me from practicing my own religion. So I think the fact that we, as young adults, are faced with such challenges, this puts adolescents and younger generations in an identity foreclosure or diffusion growing up into their young adult years.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's a great point. I want to move to the second question, please. How can I like, and I'm asking the young people, please, how can you like your own gender? And I'm asking you to say your opinion not for yourself, but for those who may be not quite sure, do I really like being a girl? Is it being a girl really nice? So I want to ask the boys and the girls, if I can have maybe two opinions from each gender, how can you advise others to like the way you were created? Yes, Habibi.
Everything here is made for a reason. So if God makes you a male or a female, it's because he plans on having you glorify him through that certain circumstance that he put you in. So females can argue that they can't be priests or monks or anything, but they can also glorify God through other ways that he has planned for them.
Great. So the way God created me, I want to glorify him, and because of that, I should like the way he designed me. A boy can answer. Why would you like yourself to be a boy? I want to tell you that sex confusion today is affecting a lot of people. And one of the things some of educators want to teach parents, please always tell your boys how great manhood is, and tell your girls how amazing to be a young lady and a future mother to be. Talk more about the excellent virtues of being a man, enduring, tolerating, carrying the burdens of a family, sacrificing, all of this. Talk about the virtues of being a woman, being kind, being helpful, multifaceting, future carer for a family. All of this will make our boys and girls be proud of their gender. Any additional thoughts for this question?
To answer the question, I would say to resonate with someone from the past, from our history, say for a man, Jesus or St. Paul, or say for a woman, Mother Teresa or Omina Irini, resonate with someone that was great in the past and try to follow in their footsteps.
Excellent. Resonate with a hero or heroess within that gender. Excellent. Actually, some movies, whether it's religious or not religious, like I remember I used to show my boys Denzel Washington movie, John Q. I don't know if you have seen it. John Q is a man who is willing to sacrifice his heart because his son needed a heart. And it shows the manhood, how a father can actually, and it depicts how great a man is. Believe me, this society, this generation, especially men, especially fathers, we must show our boys the beauty of being a boy and future man. Yes?
I also think that, like, the fact that God made us all specifically, and to think that we should be allowed to change our genders is saying, like, he is wrong. Like, as a creator, we shouldn't judge or think that he is incorrect when he is, like, the
Beautiful
Almighty.
answer. Beautiful answer. Thank you. Okay. I want to finish these two questions, then give the mic to Abuna so he can summarize and give his own wisdom. I think I kind of touched how can parents help their children to accept and, more importantly, like their gender. I said about talking about the beauty of each gender. Advices from parents, please advise each other. How can you as a mom or as a dad help your kids to accept and be proud of who they are? Believe me, this is half of the problem. If we create our children and a new generation liking who they are, no matter what education or media, we will not have shaken personalities. Any advices other than what we said? Parents, yes, sorry. To lead by example. So the father needs to be a real man in the house, always present, available, willing to help, not complaining all the time. A mother who not only wants to look beautiful, but also wants to be kind and caring and prayerful and all of that. Other advices for parents to make their children be proud. Okay, last question in this slide so we can move to a different challenge. This is the most difficult question, and I want to ask the youth first. What if I, as a boy or a girl, have feelings that are not straight? What do you advise me? Okay, so I am a boy, but I really talk to one of my friends and I tell him, I don't like to be a boy anymore. I want to put makeup. I want to use underclothes that are really not boyish. I want to use, I like to have high heels, whatever. What would you help me through this process? By the way, these questions are not made up. These questions I face and I meet people with issues like that. So it's very important we are aware, because when it happens, people will get so nervous. Any ideas?
It's a little bit tricky, but I believe the best thing you could do is hug them, listen to them, love them, because they're already confused, they're already tired, you know? That's the best answer, but I would personally panic. If my brother came up to me, told me that, I'll panic.
Yeah. So one of the most important issues, unconditional love. You are not loving him only if he does what you want. You are unconditionally loving him, because I'll tell you 70% of teenagers who say this, they have sexual confusion and they just don't know who they are. And they need someone to love them, to guide them, to explain to them, do not take any decision, do not announce anything. He, she, is, it, us, they, just wait. And I always tell those kids, if you take a year to decide what major, can't you wait a year for you to announce who you are? And usually within a year, a lot of them who are confused, I'm talking about teenage, I'm not talking about 20 and over. A lot of them, they calm down. It's usually because they like someone or they had strange relationships in the school, or somebody told them how great to be one way or another. I just want to ask everybody, whoever will speak, I want you to be very respectful to everything we are talking about. So if you are going to respond, please stay this way. There is a lady in the middle.
I would like to ask our Abuna Daoud, priests here need to be aware of the problem and how to handle it, because most of our priests, they have the old-fashioned to kick these kids out from the church. And this is really, really a dangerous avenue to take. We only have one in Toronto, one priest who is a medical doctor. He is open-minded and he gives them communion and he tries to give them counseling and stuff, but most of the priests are not aware of this problem at all. So we'd like to have some courses to the priest how to handle this, or we put some counselors in each church to save those boys, because the whole surrounding is guiding them that this is acceptable. Our priests need to be educated in this matter, and we need to have clinics in each church to handle those generations, please.
Amgad Fi, there is a hand all the way up.
Hi, Dr. Hani. So just a quick question. So I work as a clinician specifically with infants from day 0 to day 30. Recently, and this is a regional community hospital that a lot of the individuals here would be giving birth at. Most recently, we've changed our whiteboards to have pronouns now for infants. Now my hands are getting more tied and tied. Like last time I was on a committee and I was saying this makes no sense absolutely. Like, well, what am I identifying this kid as other than premature? Although very rare, I'm asking for your medical opinion here with sex ambiguity here. How do we as the church handle this? Is it just hormonal testing? And then what do we do with the confusion that I can empathize with thereafter?
So the church did not have a clear stand on how to really do genetic testing or anything. But the parents, if they are interested, they can do genetic testing of their infant if they want to confirm that the physical organs are in concordance with the genetic makeup. I just want to tell everybody, and especially those who are in the healthcare, we are still bound, unfortunately, with whatever rules we have, and we need to be protecting of each other. If we get asked about our Christian faith, we will say it, but you cannot go and oppose a rule a hospital have made unless you have a different job that you are willing to take. So I want to, as much as I want you to be brave, I want you to be wise. Because this is not the fight that you will win. You want to win yourself, and you want to win people by how great Christian ideology is. But by just raising flags and protesting, this is not how this war will be won. I want to finish what I'm saying by one thing, though. Please, in spite of all the blackness and darkness, I have great hope that this is going to be, actually, we were going to benefit a lot from this. God, I mean. So please do not lose hope.
I still have a question, Hani, for everyone. What's, in your opinion, the main reason behind this phenomenon? Why now, and not like 20 years ago, we are faced with this problem? Why many of the young people are thinking of changing the gender? I'm over 60 years old, and for more than 45 years, we had never, know this. But nowadays, this problem is kind of, dawsha. Everyone speaking about this, and we can see many people thinking of changing the gender. What exactly happened? What are the main reasons behind this? I wish you tell us what's in your opinion happened, and then listen to Dr. Hani, who studied this scientifically. Go ahead.
My opinion, Abuna, I think that it's because we live in a country that is normalizing everything. It's degrading humanity to a point that everything is becoming acceptable. We accept of everything to the point that there's nothing, like people are so confused about what's right from wrong, to the point that the latest thing that's happening is these people who are even identifying as animals, not even just changing genders to male and female, but to the point that people are identifying as animals, and we are told that we have to accept them and it's okay and this is normal. It's not even considered that this person needs psychological help. And that's the problem. We have become accepting of everything to the point that there's no right or wrong anymore.
Thank you very much. What other reasons, in your opinion? Go ahead.
I think it has to do with the fact that our world's kind of becoming more, like, in a way, absolutophobia, which means, like, they're unwilling to say that if something is wrong. So the fact that our world's moving more towards that, where, like, we're not really telling people what's right and wrong, and that kind of makes people do whatever their mind wants to do, which can lead to, like, just bad things, which is what's happening to our world right now.
Okay, thank you.
I think like humans are naturally very like curious, and I think today, like everything is available to us. Like you have access to so many different sources of information, and just humans being naturally curious, people are bound to like fall down certain specific paths that lead down to ideas, and then I think like if you spend too much time looking at one video, you'll get a video that's like that after that, and then you find yourself like in a rabbit hole and going into certain ideologies that other people wouldn't have access to, but you fell down that path. So it's more likely for that to happen now.
Thank you. Take the mic, please.
I think because we have nothing important to do in our lives. We have, our basic needs are met. We're not struggling to survive. Everything is there. So now we have nothing to do. We have lots of free time. So what can we do? Like, what else can we do? So before in the history, people were struggling to survive. There were wars, there were diseases, there was
That's why in
famine.
Africa, let me tell you, in the poor African countries, this phenomena is very rare. We rarely face anyone thinking of changing his sex, simply because he's busy to find food and water and to live his normal life. That's one reason. There are many reasons, and all answers are really reasonable. اللي رافعين ايديهم هناك حبيبي كتير. أمجد معلش نتعبك الشباب. تفضل تفضل أي حد.
So I think like a big part of the issue is that there's a breakdown in the family, that we don't have a lot of structure. So there's a lot of missing father figures in people's lives, and there's generally a lack of like stability in people's identity. Like people really want to find identity in other things. They want to find a sense of belonging and community, and so they look towards these ideas to find that belonging and community and to fill that void that they might be experiencing in their lives.
Thank you.
I also think it's just people in general trying to find something that's most convenient for them. Like everyone wants to find what's easiest for them to go through success. Like people in their jobs now, they want to try finding the easiest job for them to make the most money. And it's the same thing in like society. We want to, like, we don't want to go through struggles, so we can just fit in, and we make ourselves fit in instead of working towards fitting into specific groups and going through the struggle and learning. But I think people just forget that.
Thank you, Habib. I'm really happy with the answers of the young people because they understand the problem. Go ahead, Habib.
I personally think it's because simply of mass media that people think that there's more homosexuals out there than there are, and there really is. So I think it's just mass media that's pushing it towards everyone.
Thank you. Tfaddali.
I also think part of it is that with the feminist movement that happened, it's good. It's telling people that, yes, women are capable of having successful jobs and having successful careers. But from that came the idea that a woman can do anything a man can, and a man can do anything that a woman can, which in some ways is right, that yes, we can do each other's jobs, we can both be successful, but they kind of took it so far that they said that all of patriarchy is bad, and they demonized it so much that the West became obsessed with this idea that all this structure that we had for so long is so bad. So the coming generation is coming up with this extreme rebellion against anything that's patriarchy related and against any sort of roles that were laid out before, just because that's, I guess, what is cool and what is, I guess, famous.
Thank you very much. I also want to know George Basilius' opinion. I need your comment. Why, in your opinion, this idea becoming that hot and high?
I personally believe that in a society that rejects God, is bound to have man-made, fabricated God within ourselves. So we become God replacements once we reject the one true God. So we become autonomous. We want to create ourselves, create our identity, create our reality, and that becomes the result.
Thank you. Other comments and reasons? Go ahead, Ya Amgad.
I think it's a trend right now. Because of COVID, people had time with internet. There is TikTok and other social media on it. It can take you to a site, and a video after a video, it will just take your mind away from God, and you'll go to this side. And that's it, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ya Habibi.
Because the Bible talked about homosexuality because it knew it was going to happen. So if you read the book of Revelation, it talks about what's going to happen when Jesus comes back. So like the reason why it talked about homosexuality, because it knew that someday it's going to happen. Like people are going to have problems with it. So yeah.
Thank you. Hani هنا كمان, excuse me.
So I feel like a lot of this stems from like a lack of self-confidence, which kind of leads to you not knowing who you are as a person, and not to be like, say, the cliche answer of like social media and all that stuff, but I feel like it's opened a big door for like comparison, and then people think they're not enough and they look for a different way to be unique or special. And this is like a nice, like easy and popular way now, so that's kind of the direction people go.
Very good.
I think that people are just, struggling with this sin a lot more now, but as Copts and Christians, as much as we love them, I feel like we should have a more gentle but bold approach at the same time when we come to give advice or talk about this, because sometimes when you're trying to get the message across, we tend to do it in like kind of a radical way. So as much as we should stand firm in our beliefs and try to help others, we should also be kind of careful.
Thank you. In my opinion, I will add one point and then listen to you. All the comments are really very good, but in my opinion, you could see that 2/3 of these transgender-minded people thought of killing themselves. This means that they have a major mental health stress. So it's all about that they are not happy. They have many stresses in their heart, so they may think one day to do drugs or to kill themselves or to change whatever in their life, seeking the joy, seeking the meaning of life. So these terrible, ideas related, in my opinion, to the high stress they suffer. And this kind of stress is related to the family, the distractions and social media stresses and lack of love and lack of meaning, lack of value, and there is no God in their life, and there is no afterlife. So there is nothing, there is no meaning. And because of all these stresses, they came out with this very strange idea. And also it's devilish one. Devil want to destruct humanity. And that's one of his plans, is to destroy man by the hands of man. Go ahead, Ya Habib.
To answer your question, Abuna, I think every child or every person craves attention. So it's very easy to get attention when you claim one of those things, whereas previously, you had to be good at a sport, you have to be good at a subject. It took a lot of effort to be the best basketball player in your school, the strongest person, good at soccer, good at art, etc. If I can just add, previously we said examples of those who got in trouble for speaking their truth, kind of like the lady's example that said her friend told somebody, I'll pray for you, and she got in trouble. Those examples are biased because they have a shock factor. So you hear it, and then it gets overtold, and then others get silenced by those examples. And it's biased because you don't hear the other examples where people said, I'll pray for you, or they challenged the subject, and they didn't get in trouble. Because those examples are not told, because they don't have any shock factor. So the bias here is that you don't hear the countless stories in both sense. You can't judge, okay, also, if I may, I think parents and students, they need to arm themselves with logic that defends their argument and allows them to exercise their freedom. For example, if you get wrongfully persecuted, for these matters, kind of like the lady's friend, like Doctor said, that's God's way of allowing us to feel some persecution and wrongful persecution, kind of like all the saints. When they got wrongfully persecuted, it was wrongful persecution. So we will get that from time to time. But I don't think, those who know me here, like I'm a teacher, so I see this in high schools, and I've had my own battles, and I'm ongoing some of them within my work format, let's say. But I think you shouldn't let a strong term like homophobia or you're a homophobe silence you. Because if you don't believe in a certain living style, that doesn't make you a phobe of that style. So if somebody accuses you of being a homophobe, sometimes you retreat and you say, oh, I'm sorry, or you silence yourself. By definition, a Christian believes Christianity leads you to heaven. So if I don't believe in Islam, it doesn't make me an Islamophobe. So when you arm yourself with logic and you speak it out and you don't show fear, you have a little bit more to stand on. And I think parents need to be bolder and more brave and fight for their kids' purity in the school level, in politics and whatnot. And that shows our young generation how to fight for themselves when they are in school and they are faced with these things. Because resilience is, students don't know how to fight that fight. They come running to teachers like me saying, what am I going to do when they're doing this, that? I say, well, speak your mind. As long as it's in love, you are going to get wrongfully accused, but don't shake and continue in your knowing that God is on your side and you're speaking. And if you end up losing the battle, it doesn't mean that you were wrong. Because our saints, quote unquote, could be seen as losing the battle when they got killed for their belief.
Thank you, Habibi. Thank you.
I just want to add one thing. Please watch in the coming years the curriculum that's being offered in schools. There are areas you can opt out if you believe you don't want your children to be taught. There was a recent 5 areas about HIV that we asked the parents in New York to opt out, in number 5, I think, which was really unacceptable, and you are allowed to do that. I'm not sure about Toronto. The second point about education, going to many states, I can tell you I am very much favoring 2 things: private schools and or Coptic schools, homeschooling. I think the coming years, for those who have 7-year-old now, you should think seriously in the near future, homeschooling, and I'm sure there are many rules that you have to study and teachers can tell you, but if you put 4 or 5 families together, at least in the States, it can be supported by the government. And homeschooling is an excellent idea. Coptic schools, if you can, then private schooling. You may not be able to stand too much against public education. I want to move to a different challenge, which is Instagram. Again, I'll show a couple of slides, and then I want to hear your opinion. This is just came, and by the way, media is completely hushing it out. Although it came from Wall Street, this is September 26, 21. It's a whole research that came about Instagram, and it says it affects the well-being and mental health of our teenagers. CNBC reported, and basically Facebook documents how toxic Instagram for our teens, and that's a Wall Street report. CNN, although very liberal, spoke about social media, especially Instagram and Snapchat. This is an interesting study of 1,500 young people between 15 and 24 years old. It was done in United Kingdom, and they give them a survey of what types of social media and how do they affect you. And I'm going to quote, it says, based on the rating, Instagram was listed as having the most negative effect. And basically there was 14 health and well-being issues being studied, which is anxiety, depression, loneliness, sleepiness, bullying, and fear of missing out. While I'm talking about Instagram, I want to talk about something could be criminal, and some of us may fall in it with or without knowledge, called sexting. For those who don't know, that means sending or receiving sexually explicit messages or pictures. Unfortunately, it's very common. 70% of teens admitted of sexting. 40% of teens are estimated to have sent messages. 20% of girls have sent text. 20% of males admit of sexting. The problem of sexting, unfortunately, every now and then I get a call, and believe me, the last time I got a call was a girl wants to commit suicide because she trusted so-called the person who loved her, and he insisted he cannot sleep without seeing some pictures. Foolishly, she sent it. This is a Coptic girl, by the way. And of course, he promised all his life this is just for him because he cannot live without her and he's going to marry her. Foolishly, she sent the pictures. Next day, it was all over social media. The girl attempted suicide. Thank God she did not die. But this is a criminal act, by the way, and at least in America, FBI gets involved, not the police, because this is cross states. Because I could be in Wisconsin and sext somebody in California. So this is a huge issue, and I'm asking all parents to keep watch because some kids may not know what they are receiving. I am begging my boys and girls, please don't ever, ever, ever send something regardless of the pressure you are getting from that person. While I'm at the media, so I can put the questions together, I want to just say scientific study came from University of Cambridge. They basically got heroin addicts and they did functional MRI, which is basically magnetic resonance of the brain, and certain areas in the brain lit up because of their heroin addiction. Then they took a group of hard porn addicts after they made them watch their porn clips, and strangely, their functional MRI showed that the same areas that were lit up in the heroin addicts were lighting up in the porn viewers. They concluded that pornography is addictive. This is not a lecture, I'm not giving you a lecture about this, but I like to do surveys whenever I can. This was a high school retreat that I was attending, and I asked boys and girls, there was about 120, to send me anonymously an answer to this question. And I want you to know, this church is not different than any other church in the Coptic society. How many times you watched porn during the past month? 60% or 55 if you want, more than 10. Of course, I didn't think to put it last day. Maybe I would have been so much surprised. But I just want to say, those are good kids attending a spiritual retreat. And this is our statistic. I'm not giving you statistics that came from Canada or America. Those are our kids attending a spiritual retreat with the priest, with the servants. What I'm trying to say is, this is serious, very serious. Believe me, there are excellent Coptic servants, married couples are failing today because of this. I don't want our youth who are growing up, of course parents too, to grow up and lose their marriages or lose their eternity. So I'm not going to talk about marriage, but it affects marriage, it causes divorce. So these are the questions. This is now open for all of you, and I think we may. What is the appropriate number of hours you think you are allowed to use Instagram on Snapchat? I need a guess from some of the youth, not the parents, of course, because if it's up to the parents, it's 0. So let's be fair. You cannot stop using Instagram, but what is the appropriate number? Yes, just say the number, I'll say. You deleted the Instagram a year ago. How old are you? You are 20. All right. But he deleted when he's 20, so I'm not sure that. Yeah. So he is is agreeing that really caused a lot of anxiety because one of the girls one time told me, she's a very funny girl. She said, "Yeah, uncle, I am sitting in the liturgy and I received an Instagram of another girl with her swimming pool in the beach. What do you think I should do in the liturgy after that?" She's, of course, why did she have the phone on? But that's a different issue. The point is the anxiety. I have a girl who is having eating disorder because of Instagram, because every single girl is size 0. And of course, none of the Coptic girls is something like that. So all of a sudden, our girls are either depressed or having the bulimia or anorexia, or they are having low self-esteem because of this thing. So what's the number of hours? I didn't say even content, but just the hours or times. Yes? 1 to 1.5 hours. I think that's reasonable. Anyone disagrees? That's per day, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, the young lady there, yes.
I think anything under like 2 hours
Is
and,
acceptable?
And phone addiction is like pretty bad. Like I did like in English last semester, I forgot what it was called, but it's like the project at the end of the year. And I did it about like phone addiction and it's, oh yeah, CPT. And it was like about phone addiction and it showed the MRI scan too. It was like also about phone addiction, that in the gray area, like their cognitive function, that their memory was like pretty low. Yeah. And it was like a lot of people that had more than 2 hours a day, they were addicted.
Thank you. Okay, I'm moving, yes.
I think a part of it can be just self-discipline. Like we don't have to completely eliminate it from our lives, but we can use like a screen time with a passcode, and you can like give your friend or ask your sibling to make a passcode that you don't know. Because then if you make it like really hard on yourself to spend a lot of time on it, then you're not gonna like wake up your sibling at 2 a.m. and be like, what's my passcode, right? I mean, you can, but you're much less likely to do that than to just be like, ignore screen time if you're just doing it on your own.
Just to agree with you, in this retreat that I spoke to, after we spoke about all the dangers of sexual explicit messages, pornography, you can't imagine, I am humbled by the number of boys exactly like him who stood in line waiting for the servant to literally put a password and tell him, I don't want to watch adult movies anymore. Help, not that they will not be able to bypass it, but it's putting a little of hindrance for them not to go in. You feel so proud of them because this is really what a spiritual struggle is. We cannot ignore that this is a new game that the evil war is playing with us. So how about this coming question? What do you tell someone who actually used the phone wrong for whatever reasons I just mentioned, sexting, pornography? I mean, what are we going to help him? How are we going to help him? You can put the last two questions together. Any advice? So I need an advice from within the groups of how you can tell me I used the phone wrong, and now you are advising me of something you did right, and it's working with you. So one of them is placing the password and having an accountable person. Anything else? Yes. Sorry, 1 second, doctor.
A few years ago, there were 2 other priests with you, and you were talking to us about pornography. And there were a few websites, I forget what they're called, but I remember they did come in handy with a friend of mine afterwards, where they give you access to their phone, and then you block some of the URLs that they have to manually input that they know they resort to. Whether through whatever devices they use to watch porn, for example, and then you are their accountability partner, so then you face them heads on, as long as they've given you the permission to go ahead and be that person for them.
So I'll probably be able to give you some ideas about the websites, but one of them is called redbrickchurch.org. Almost all of them you have to pay. There is one site only, it's as an app, and it's actually done by a Coptic guy, but I don't remember the name. But redbrickchurch.org. There is another one called Covenant Eyes, very good one. The third is called Summit, I think. So I'll try to find it, but I got locked out. Any other comments? Yes.
You can use parental controls, like, for example, if your son or daughter is using a social media app for like 2 hours a day, your parent can change it to like a timer for an hour, hour and a half, or 30 minutes a day.
Thank you. One of the things I always ask parents every year, every time I go with Abuna Daoud, why are we keeping routers at night after mom and dad go to sleep? I'm waiting for one parent to explain it to me. I am challenging every parent, and none of them were able to tell me that there is a good reason. It's 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, everybody slept. Why the internet is on? Just put it off before you go to sleep, mom or dad. And I don't think they will mind, because they need help to struggle, by the way. They are really great people. I met them, excellent men and ladies. But sometimes they need help. Yes, go ahead, Habib. You want the internet after 12?
A lot of people tend to study better at night.
Yeah, right.
And so it would really be detrimental to the education of a lot of people here.
I'm very worried about your memory loss from other things. Okay. Any other questions? Responses, I mean. Okay. We go for the last thing is really, and this is only for kids. If you were given Harry Potter's wand, magic wand, and you want to put it on dad or on mom, and you want her to change something, either something she says or something she said or something she is supposed to do, what would you wish your parents to change in, if you have that ability to make them change? I need boys and girls less than 30. Yes.
I just want to make sure they're not here first, but I'm pretty sure they're not. to be more gentle and stop yelling. Maybe, let's say if they have something they want to say, like say the truth gently, you know? That's it.
Okay, mom and dad, they are here actually, but it's okay. So please say the truth gently. So they need two things, truth and gently, by the way. Okay. By the way, this is very important question and the answers are very useful, so please listen up.
If I had Harry Potter's wand,
Yes?
I would change specifically my mother's yelling in anything really. Yeah, no, that's the plan. Do you have a room? Do you have a room for me? Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, beautiful. So stop yelling, or not stop actually, because I don't think we can make them stop, but reduce the level of yelling. Okay, next.
I think two things. Number one, we need to cut down on mama saying inshallah. And then not actually doing what she's saying inshallah for. And then the second thing is when they give you that stare, that,
Okay.
you know, the death stare.
Which in Arabic called the tabri'. So the evil eyes comes out and the hair sticks out and okay, so don't look scary. Okay.
Well, honestly, I'm not saying that my parents are bad, but I'm just saying if they were about to punish us, I would say think back to when they were kids. And like think about what their parents would do to them and then think of a fair punishment for us.
Beautiful answer. Thank you. From the wisdom of the babes. Okay. More answers. Okay, this side, I'm not sure who can go. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. Oh, yes. Sir.
Okay, I think they sometimes need to like try to get better at understanding that they're not us and what we do is not going to be what they do. Even if like they're not comfortable with our choices and stuff, like they have to, if it's not wrong or like detrimental to like our like salvation and stuff, sometimes it's just our life and not theirs, and they just need to be there to support us in what we do.
So what you are saying is sometimes they make a big fuss about something that may not be salvation related. You want their fuss to be in something very, very important, and the little things they can sort of negotiate in. Okay.
First of all, I love Mama and Baba, and
You're still in trouble, Habibi.
Thank you. Sometimes, you know, you're just going to Mama and Baba to tell them a nice joke, have a laugh, and then they turn it into a life lesson. And it's one of the most horrible experiences you could. You're just going there to have fun, and suddenly, you know, in the Bible, oh, it really hurts.
So basically he's saying when he gives you a joke, please laugh. That's all. Just take it easy. Okay. You are going to speak about... Okay.
Abuna, earlier you were talking about, you're telling us a lot of good things how to deal with it with our kids. If I may suggest that you eventually can give us a series for the kids, how to deal with their parents. Because a lot of time we as parents, we're not perfect. And when the conversation it comes out of your mouth and you tell them how to deal with your parents, based on the fact that they're not perfect, then we get better communication. As a teacher, and this is pretty sad, but I've been teaching for 15 years, I must have came across maybe somewhere between 8 and 12 kids who were considering suicide in 15 years, so that's almost one a year. And a lot of time the problem is that there's a big argument between them and their parents. And I found that for some reason when they come talk to me, they confide in me, I tell them, start off by understanding your parents are not perfect. So you are so upset at your parents because you think my parents should be perfect and they're not treating me perfectly. I'm so mad. et cetera, I'm thinking suicide. When you start off as an adult, I'm saying, okay, your parents are wrong. When you get that okay out of the way, that they love you, their technique with you is wrong, and then they start kind of forgiving and being more lenient. So if you ever give a series on kids how to deal with their parents and include that parents will be wrong, I think it'll better the relationship.
Okay, before I give the mic to Abuna, any other kids' answers? Yeah, this, thank you.
When they, like, if they're mad at us, they would, like, say random, they would call us random stuff in Arabic.
Random stuff in Arabic. Thank God, Habibti, you don't understand these things. Yeah. It's a blessing of the ignorance, so. Okay, any other comments? We don't want to. We want all the rooms to still allow kids to go in, so. Is there anyone speaking by you, or that's it? Okay, a mom is going to.
No, it's just a comment. Otzek said something earlier, like we have a conversation with the children, make sure that they can speak to you freely and openly and tell you everything, even if they did something bad or something terrible. But at the same time, like, how do you also react to this? Like, it's not, what they did is not okay, but if you overreact, then they're not going to tell you anything. But if you say nothing, they might think that it's okay to do it again. Like, how do you balance that?
In my opinion, it's important to ask your child, in what way you want me to respond to this? Because the children, the kids can tell you exactly, because they know the right and wrong. And they can tell you, we expect that you are patient and you just respect, and we are ready to say sorry, and you don't need to yell or to be mad. So when you have this quiet discussion between the parent and the kids, I think we will teach each other. They can teach us how to deal perfectly with them, and we can tell them in what way they should respect us and listen to what we say. So I don't think we listen enough to each other. And we can, exercise. We can train ourselves to have this better quality of communication and listening and understanding each, side. And by this, we can enjoy having this perfect relationship, and we can grow together. يعني العلاقة دي, we need it in a very Christian way. Thank you for all the response. I'm really happy with the answers of the kids, and I hope إنها تبقى good night بجد يعني.
I'm not sure if I can open this. I want to read one thing, and then we go to bed, because it may. So, I'm not sure you can see it or not, but I'm going to read. I don't know what happened. I'm going to read a letter that you will never read from your son. So why don't you just listen to me, because I don't know how can. Okay. Dear Mom and Dad. Oh, really? Sorry, guys, I'm technologically disabled. I know, but it's not perfect here. So, dear mom and dad, I can't stand you anymore. You are so much and you are suffocating me. I hate you. But please do not stop. Even when I resist you, I urge you to keep being that high wall that I will always lean against. Even if I kick and curse and tell you things that I wish you did not hear, please do not believe me. I actually need you more than you think. I need you to say no more often than I care to hear. I need you to stand tall and affirm your decisions, which I may hate, but one day I know I will thank you for. I know raising me is not a fun job, and you will never be thanked for. But please do not lose hope in me. Mom and Dad, when I say I hate you, or I don't want to see you, or I can't wait for the day that I can live away from you, I would love to live away from you, very far from you, please do not believe me. I am actually trying to test you. Test how good is your grip on me, how strong the seat belt on my waist, so if or rather when I hit a wall, it will protect me. You are my safety belt. You are saving my life from all these bad shocks. You are my shield and fence, tall, preventing me from climbing and hurting myself, which in many times I want to rip apart or bring down. But I need you. I need your embrace more than you think. I know that I push you away and I tell you you don't hug me and you should not hug me and don't play in my hair. Actually, I want you to do it more often. I want you to hold me tight and more. I want you to tell me that you love me even when I roll my eyes and make fun of you. Mom and Dad, please do not believe me when I say I have better things to do and I'm busy, I can't talk to you or ever. Please do not believe me. I actually hate it when you believe me. Can you move it up, please? Can you move it up? Saddani, I wrote this. This is well before Chat B. How can a mature grown-up man or woman believe someone who is so confused like me? Believe the opposite. I need you more. I want you to nag me more and I want you to check on me more often. Mom and Dad, when you found the bad site I was watching or the cigarette or whatever I was hiding, I made such a big scene about my freedom and my rights and my whatever. I want you to know one thing. I was so happy you caught me. Yes, I am. I was looking forward for you to find out so I can have a reason to stop. Why would you believe I have rights? You have every right to check on me, to correct my path, or even force me to do a urine test when you suspect I'm taking drugs. I'm telling you and I'm begging you, please do that and more. Do not listen to my shouts and my disrespectful screams. Mom and Dad, please, please, do not lose hope in me. I know I do not deserve many second chances, but you are the only one who should and could give me these chances. So please bear with me. while I'm trying to know myself, my real self. Whom am I and who do I like and what I believe in? I urge you to pray for me. Pray that one day I will be the person you want to be proud of. Pray that God give you more patience and wisdom. You need loads of them to endure my constant annoyances. I wish I could make you read this letter, but I know myself. I'm too proud and too ashamed to make you read it. I guess I will live my life hoping you know that I love you, even if I look as if I want to kill you. Your son and daughter.
Thank you, Habibi. We'll start the liturgy like 8:15. Okay? So, يلا نصلي. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lord Jesus Christ, our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory forever. امضوا بالسلام، سلام الرب يكون معك. تصبحوا على خير. Good night.
So we need some young